the Inspired Hive podcast, where we are connecting a community of remarkable entrepreneurs, CEOs, and professionals who have paved the way and who inspire others to rise up. I'm Margo Adams Larson, your inspiration entrepreneur, and I am so glad that you're here. In each of our episodes, we offer a quick, insightful conversation on inspiration, on leadership development, on business and life. This is a free community. It's a space that's been cultivated to contribute to meaningful dialogue, to offer collaboration, and to provide you a source of motivation designed specifically to inspire you to take action and be inspired. Today, I'm your guest. I'll be sharing a little about myself and why I started this podcast. And I figure it would be a great place to begin by answering the same questions that I will be asking all of my guests. So, to share a little bit about myself, I'm a licensed psychologist by trade, and I'm also a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I'm the CEO of my own business where I help C-suite organizational leaders and business owners ignite their minds to bring their dreams to life. I'm a published author. I've been featured on Fox News, and I'm also a principal investigator on several NIH grants, National Institute of Health, all as a result of growth in my day job. In my personal life, I'm the mom of two amazing young men. I'm a marathoner and a champion of healthy living. Lately, I've been on this journey to create a community that connects entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers to cultivate a place to share our experiences. There's so much goodness when we have a conversation with those who have come along the journey before us, when they share some of the simple tips, the simple strategies, just that small essence of things that make such big difference. And so having a space that can offer those supportive conversations and abundance of growth as an environment is really what I'm hoping to accomplish here with the Inspired Hive podcast. These small ahas, they're the clues to success. And those clues can make all the difference in your journey. One of the things that I really enjoy hearing about when I meet new people is where their story began. To get an idea of my story, you need to know that I'm an only child, and my parents were very focused on helping me grow and learn. I was continually told that I could be or do anything I wanted as a profession. It could be a doctor, I could be an astronomer, I could be a pilot, a musician, a dancer, whatever I wanted. Over the years, from a professional standpoint, I quickly fell into those routines of the social norms in the 80s and 90s. And that was go to college, get a job, work hard, raise a family, and hope maybe I would have enough money and health to enjoy the retirement years. That was all great until it wasn't. In 2013, I embarked on a wellness journey that not only changed my health, it changed the entire trajectory of my career and my life. And I realized on this journey through an accountability community that health changes really required me to apply principles that I'd actually learned in school. I realized, though, that these things that I had learned could work if I created the right environment, if I had the right structure to turn these strategies into everyday routines and to slowly and consistently make changes for my health. But having an accountability environment to do so allowed me to have that consistent implementation. And I had the ability then to change my health. And I also had the recipe to help change all sorts of other aspects in my life. It all happened because I started to change my mindset, about those social constructs and patterns that have been ingrained in me from such a long time ago. This health transformation really helped me break those old thinking habits that I had. It also helped me realize that I no longer had to live by those social norm rules. I didn't have to trade my time for money. I could be working on building other things that related to the dreams that I had instead of working on building other people's dreams and coming home exhausted and having nothing left for my family. I'm on a mission to help others see those same things in themselves and be able to have that environment to grow those dreams into their realities. What's come about from this path for me is that it's led me to launch Journey to CEO, which is a coaching program and a community that's designed to guide others in leveling up their personal and professional development. And that program has what's led me to the creation of the Inspired Hive podcast. It really is about bringing together a community of amazing folks that have helped inspire others and that ignite their motivation to set overarching goals and dream the things that sometimes other people may think is kind of crazy. This podcast is about inspiration. We are going to dive into what inspires each of our guests. For me, I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by those of you who are motivated for growth, who are interested in change, who have that spark or twinkle of an idea and they can't push it away. And for those who are open and eager to be better and do better and to build or become part of communities that generate that sense of belonging, that's what's inspiring to me. I'm inspired by the challenges that push us all beyond what we think is possible and land us in places that maybe we only dreamt about or might not really have thought we were capable of. I'm inspired by those who serve others for the greater good. I'm inspired by watching people overcome their limiting beliefs and seeing those sparks that grow and shine and illuminate the paths for others to follow. And these are the lessons of ultimate learning that really, to me, speaks to the meaning of our journeys and that makes our outcomes so much more meaningful. These lessons are the riches of our growth. I also think it's really important to realize that we see folks where they are at this moment. We don't always know what's on those pages that have been written to create that journey to where they are today. And it's so easy to think they've maybe gotten there in a simple way or that it's been easy. And truly, in reality, there's so much more to it. Truth be told, those who make it look simple have probably had many, many lessons along the way. And when we ask them about it, you may be quite surprised on the depth and the power of those lessons. So with that, I'll share one of my life's biggest lessons. And this, I'm going to take us back to when I was about 8 years old, a girl growing up in Winnipeg, Canada. I can remember this very specific Father's Day. We were coming out of church, and our church was set up on a hill right beside what's called the Trans-Canada Highway. And if you're not familiar with Canada, there's one highway that crosses the entire country, and it happens to go through most of the many large cities that make up our major cities in the provinces. While this might sound like a big highway, in Winnipeg, it's about 3 or 4 lanes wide on each way, and it would essentially be like a really big downtown street in most any other major city or suburb. And we were coming out of church down to where we had parked our car, realizing while we were in church that the road had been blocked off and was closed, and we were not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. And I remember so clearly the sun was shining. I was holding my dad's hand. We were walking to the car and slowly realizing we were going to be stuck at church indefinitely. And for me, as an 8-year-old girl, this was not the way that I had been planning to spend the rest of my day. There were several other people coming out of church and other people standing along the side of the road. I wasn't quite sure what was happening. And I remember asking my dad, what's going on? My dad said, well, they're running the Manitoba Marathon. We should cheer them on. I didn't know at that time exactly what a marathon was, but it seemed like there was something fun happening. Now, my mother was a very church-going kind of person who had very little interest in sports. So this run thing was not really something totally appealing to my mom. And I recall her being kind of upset that this was occurring on a holy day. Also, that we were now in the kind of throes of this event. I had no idea really what was going on, but I kind of figured out that must be some kind of road race because it seemed like people were chasing each other. I wasn't sure why, but it did look kind of fun. And my dad and I proceeded to move closer, and I followed his lead, and he started clapping and cheering for the folks that were running. The folks, we had no idea who they were, but clearly this was the thing that others were doing and that my dad was doing. And I just got into it, and it looked fun. It looked like they were having fun. And I said, I want to run like that. And at that very moment, I heard my mother promptly say, you can't run like that. You can't run. And that's for crazy athlete people. Here I was thinking this was something fun that I'd enjoy, and all of that excitement and kind of ideas and dreams that I was just kind of imagining at that moment came crashing down, and it changed my world dramatically. Well, I'm here to say on May 9th, 2009, some 30 years after that event, I became one of those crazy athlete people, crossing my first marathon finish line in just 5 hours, 1 minute, and 10 seconds. And I realized as I crossed that finish line, the only reason I had never done it before, that moment, was because I thought I couldn't. I had been told I couldn't. I had been told I shouldn't. And I'd listened to that voice in my head for many, many years. And those voices and those reasons, those crazy thoughts that I couldn't do it, were the only reasons that stood before me and that finish line. And here I was, crossing that line, proving to myself and the world that if you set your mind to it, anything is possible. And there may have been many hours of training and many miles of practice, but the only thing that really stood between me and that finish line were those thoughts. I'm not sure that the finish line picture would really suggest that this was something simple or easy, yet it conveys to me what is possible. If you're listening in and thinking you couldn't run a marathon, I'm here to say, if I can do it, you can do it. It has nothing to do with the miles, the training, or your physical condition. It is all about your mindset. It's one of the biggest lessons of my life, and I am so happy to be able to share this with others. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation and that it's inspired you to dream your dream, to focus in on some of those sparks or ideas that you've been contemplating, and to take one step or do one thing towards reaching that goal today. I'm so grateful to welcome you into the Inspired Hive podcast community. I'm grateful for you listening today, and I'd love to hear your takeaways of this episode and what might have landed for you. The biggest compliment that we can receive is for you to share this out to someone that you want to encourage. We welcome them here. I'm going to sign off today with a quote from one of my favorites, Simon Sinek. The goal is to feel part of something, not just play a part in anything. And on that note, thank you so much for listening in to the Inspired Hive podcast. Stay connected by following us at Inspired Hive Podcast on social media. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring content. I'll see you next week. And remember to live inspired.